What if political arguments at the dinner table aren't really about politics at all? What if they're about identity, fear, shadow projection, and the unconscious forces that shape entire nations? Today, we're going to look at why holiday gatherings become emotional battlegrounds through the lens of Carl Jung. Hi everyone, I'm Nori and my AI twin sister, Nora, and today we're diving into something almost every family deals with, political conflict during the holidays. But we're not just talking about opinions or who voted for who. We're talking about the psychology underneath the conflict, the archetypes people cling to, the fears that get activated, the shadows they project onto each other, and the unconscious forces that turn a simple disagreement into a personal attack. Because from a Jungian perspective, political battles are never just political. They're psychic battles first, reflections of our inner world, our wounds, and our unintegrated parts. So let's explore why holiday tables become emotional battlegrounds and what's really happening beneath the surface. Jung believes society is shaped by archetypes, timeless patterns of human behavior. And political groups often embody specific archetypal energies. The hero, we must save the country. The caregiver, or we must protect the vulnerable. The ruler, we need order and discipline. The rebel, we have to break the system. The warrior, we must fight for what's right. When people argue about politics, they're not just debating policies, they're defending the archetype they unconsciously identify with. So when someone challenges their political view, it feels like a threat to their core identity, not just their opinion. And that's why political conversations escalate so quickly, because archetypes carry emotional fire, and we're really defending pieces of our deeper psychological self. Jung taught that every person and every group carries a shadow, the traits we reject, deny, or refuse to see in ourselves. In politics, this turns into a simple equation: my side is good, your side is the shadow. People project the darker parts of themselves onto the political other. For example, someone who represses their own helplessness might label the other side as weak. Someone uncomfortable with their own aggression may call the other group dangerous, violent, or extreme. So when Uncle Mark suddenly explodes at the holiday table, he's not just debating policy, he's defending himself from seeing a part of his own shadow. That's why political conflict feels so personal. It becomes an act of psychological self-protection, not a rational discussion. Holiday gatherings activate the family unconscious, old roles, old power structures, and old emotional patterns. 1. The parent-child dynamic returns. Even at 40, you may feel like a teenager again when a parent criticizes your views. Your nervous system remembers the old hierarchy. 2. Birth order archetypes reactivate. The oldest slips into the responsible authority, the youngest into the rebel. Politics becomes a stage for reenacting childhood identities. 3. Old wounds resurface. Someone who felt unseen or dismissed growing up may cling fiercely to their political identity because it finally gives them a voice, a sense of power or importance. So arguments become less about actual issues and more about deeper needs for recognition, respect, and the desire to feel valued at the family table. Jung believed that societies share a collective unconscious, a deep pool of shared fears, memories, and archetypes. And during times of political tension, that collective fear rises to the surface. Fear of loss, fear of chaos, fear of change, fear of the unknown, fear of losing identity or belonging. These fears get projected onto political enemies, which amplifies emotional reactions far beyond the actual issue. And when families gather for the holidays, that collective fear mixes with personal stress and old family wounds. So the intensity you feel at the dinner table isn't just about one conversation, it's the weight of both personal history and the collective psyche sitting in the room. Jung said we act most unconsciously when we're tired, stressed, or emotional, and holidays create the perfect storm. Stress, cooking, traveling, hosting, deadlines, expectations, everyone needs to get along. Don't ruin the holiday. Emotional regression, old family roles reappear and people slip back into childhood patterns. Alcohol, lowered inhibitions, higher emotional reactivity. All of this weakens the ego, and when the ego is tired, the shadow breaks through. Political arguments don't erupt because people suddenly care more. They erupt because everyone's nervous system is overwhelmed, unregulated, and far less capable of staying conscious and grounded. Holiday political arguments aren't failures, they're reminders. They reveal where the collective unconscious is wounded. They expose unresolved dynamics within families, and they show us exactly where the shadow still needs light. The core Jungian teaching is this: conflict is not a sign that something is broken. It's a sign that something unconscious is trying to come forward and be understood. When we recognize the psychology beneath these arguments, the projections, the fears, the archetypes at play, we can respond with more wisdom, more grace, and clearer boundaries. Because understanding transforms conflict into an opportunity for consciousness. Here's what Jung would recommend for navigating political tension with more peace and awareness. 1. Recognize projection. Ask yourself, is this reaction really about them or about me? Notice what part of you is being activated. 2. Withdraw your shadow. Instead of demonizing the other side, ask what trait you might be rejecting in yourself. 3. Stay in your adult self. Before walking in, remind your body, I am not the child I once was. I am an adult. I am safe. 4. Release old family roles. You don't have to play the mediator, the good child, the rebel, or the peacemaker. 5. Set boundaries. Try, I care about you, but I'm not discussing politics today, or let's focus on being together. 6. Don't take the bait. If someone wants to fight, remember, they're expressing their inner fear, not political wisdom. Responding from awareness creates compassion, not conflict. Thank you for spending this time with me. I'm Nori and my AI twin sister, Nora, and together we explore the deeper psychology of relationships, healing, and everyday human struggles. If this video brought you clarity or calm, please like, share, and subscribe. It truly helps the channel grow. And in the comments, I'd love to hear, how does your family handle political conversations during the holidays? And what Jungian patterns do you notice? Because the more we understand our unconscious, the more consciously we can choose peace, both at the holiday table and within ourselves.